during Korea and Vietnam, we were detachments, and typically a detachment was a 10-man detachment. We had an officer, a, O3, E8, E7, two E6s, a couple of E4s, a couple of E5s, uh, and a company clerk who was by MOS a clerk. That's our structure during Vietnam. A controlled detachment has more people in it. But today, for the Army, we are organized as companies, battalions, and groups, all under the 20th Seaburn Command. So that's how we are organized today. It's a larger, due to the GWAT, the demand for EOD people, we just had to expand. Of course, Air Force, they're organized as flights. The Navy is the mobile, the mobile explosive units, MEUs. The Marine Corps are assigned to an engineer battalion today. That's how we organize today. I don't know if we're going to stay organized that way, if there's going to be restructuring. There's all kinds of talks. And now, of course, we're supporting for the Army, we're supporting special operations. We have, Beckwith wanted 6 EOD people in Delta. And so we never, at one time we had 6, but we just had a problem keeping EOD people in Delta. So in 1986, we formed a EOD section with 6 EOD techs. We recruited them, and they're not operators, but they're direct support for the squadrons. But like if the Rangers needed EOD support, the Navy provided EOD support. The Navy did for the Rangers. Back then, the only EOD people that were officially jump qualified, some had gone through jump school and then later volunteered, but they weren't on jump status, is the 28th EOD. So we created the 28th Ordnance Company EOD at Fort Liberty, Fort Bragg, when we first created them. And then we also have 2 EOD airborne platoons at Fort Bragg that support the 82nd. So the 28th supports the Rangers and Special Forces. The other 2 platoons support 82nd missions. They're all airborne jump qualified. Then we have the 21st EOD WMD, Weapons of Mass Destruction unit, out at Kirtland Air Force Base, which would support any of that kind of stuff, weapons of mass destruction. That's their main focus. And before we had the 21st, we had what we called NEST teams, was nuclear emergency search teams in the EOD, but now we have the 21st. So that's how we're kind of organized today.
With you getting into Vietnam, and was it 1969 or was it 70 when you arrived in country?
I got in February of 1970. So at the heyday of Vietnam for the Army, we had 15 detachments in Vietnam. So what we were organized geographically in South Vietnam. So how EOD worked in Vietnam, Army EOD, I'm not going to talk about the other ones right now if anybody wants to, but how we were organized for the Army, we operated in a geographical area. So the 99th at Phuoc Vinh, we operated in the northwest corner of 3 Corps. Now, South Vietnam was divided up into 4 corps. So anybody that operated in our area, we supported any maneuver elements that operated. So we supported, when I was there, all of 1st Cavalry Division Air Mobile's operations. We supported part of the 1st Infantry Division, the 199th Light Infantry Brigade, and the 11th Ace Armored Cavalry Regiment. So we supported all these units that operated in our geographical area. So if they needed EOD, they'd give us a call, and depending on where they were located, we get in a vehicle and drive there, or they would send in a helicopter and fly us out to wherever they needed us. And so when we went out in Vietnam, we always carried 3 days worth of food, water, explosives. So I always carried either 20 pounds or 40 pounds of composition C4, either 1 or 2 haversacks of C4. In a haversack, there's 16 blocks in the haversack, 1.25 pound M112 blocks. So I always went to the field with either 40 or 20 or 40 pounds of C4, all the firing systems, the caps, the igniters, and stuff. So if we needed more explosives, the unit that we're supporting then would support us with more explosives. And if we were there for more than 3 days, they would have to provide us with the water and food and all that kind of stuff. Towards the end, when I went to the field, I was carrying 10 quarts of water. I had a 1 quart, two quarts, and a 5 quart bladder that I carried, because our meals were mostly, we did have C rations, but most of our meals were the LRPs, the long range reconnaissance patrol meals, and which are dehydrated. So you need water to, rehydrate them. There I am. I'm getting ready to go to the field. I got my rucksack on. I've got, let's see, I'm carrying, there's 7 in those pouches, bandoliers. There's 7 magazines, 20 round magazines in there. I got 2 bandoliers, and then I have 2 magazines. They're taped together in my M16. So that's just before I was going to the field. And that's how we were dressed in Vietnam. Didn't wear flak jackets, or we didn't, and we didn't wear helmets. We just wear our bush hat. And that's how we did it. I never wore a bomb suit. I never operated a robot in my career. Yeah, that's only one time did I wear a helmet and a flak jacket, and that was when a Loach helicopter, a light observation helicopter, part of a paint team loaded with white phosphorus, crashed at a refill point, the POL. So he crashed there, and all this WP and explosions and stuff were going on, but we had to clear the refuel point so other helicopters could refuel. And so stuff was exploding as we were clearing it. So we actually put on flak jackets, and flak jacket's not a bulletproof vest. It's just protects you from flak, shrapnel. And then the helmet, because we were picking up WP grenades that were smoking, putting them in buckets of water, and we had to clear that so that they could refuel other helicopters. That was the refuel point. That was the only time I wore a helmet and a flak jacket.
We've